Is the campaign short? Is it short?
Yes.
There we go. That's it. Goodbye.
Stop reading filler side quest text after the Red Ridge John J. Keeshan stuff. But that was fucking great.
To many though, no, I can see the most extreme rejection of that would be not liking the day Deathwing came. But I think in the like, this is Azeroth and Warcraft to this is dad jokes and Azeroth choppers hit web series. Hang on. I don't think... How many of you know about Azeroth choppers? Because, you know those motorbike building reality TV shows? They did do one of those with Blizzard. It was called Azeroth Choppers. It happened in 2014, and I think the community as a whole essentially just sort of realized that it was a bit of a sort of a midlife crisis episode. Where the Horde Chopper was definitely the winner. I mean,
of course,
the Alliance one was okay, but the criticisms of it looking too much like a beetle, I did feel. But that is not the point. The point is the campaign worryingly short, and supposedly this has been kicked off.
Worryingly is doing a lot of lifting here.
Sure is. This has been kicked off by Big Dan. Who has patch 10.0, chapter 16, side quests 34, total 50. 11.0, campaign chapters 12, side quest stories 53.
Damn, look at that.
That's a lot of side quests.
Yeah, they're like, sorry, we don't actually want to tell the stories, but here's...
Oh my god. That's all character development for skipping then.
Here's 19 more gay centaur couples. Which is like really unfair because the side quests I've finished maybe about a third of the Ring of Deeps. I finished all the side quests on the Isle of Dorn, and outside of one that I have a lot of issues with because of the pacing of it and it being too heavy-handed and the trying to be philosophical to the point that it ended up being a bit preachy. I fucking loved them all. I really liked them all. I thought they were fantastic.
Yeah, like big picture, they've been doing a good job.
Isle of Dorn side quests are fantastic. And I assume then Hollowfall and the other one will be even better, basically.
Yeah, Hollowfall's just real well built.
But the point is there's less campaign chapters and more side quests, which is interesting. And then Chromie DE comes in here with the total quest number significantly lower.
Oh!
Look at that.
Okay, so this is comparing the Shadowed Lands, Dragonflight, and the War Within. Shadowlands had 284 quests, Dragonflight had 210, and the War Within has 135. Endgame, Shadowlands 608, all 4 zones, Dragonflight 59, and the War Within 55.
Yeah.
How's there that many Shadowlands quests? What?
I'm assuming
is that just like a data fragment?
I'm assuming that's including like all the campaign tagged quests from all of the different, because it had the 4 different quest lines for the Covenants. I almost forgot they're called for a second. So like obviously that's probably it in a big way. 55, they're not all in the game yet. So obviously,
okay,
because like there's one chapter missing, which is obviously that's just one chapter.
Well, so the thing is, remember, that's not the total quest count. That is the campaign quest count.
Yeah.
So the side quests then humongously bulk that out because you're going from 34 side quest chains to 53 side quest chains.
Yeah. So we have...
so you're likely looking at a similar amount of overall content, difference being more side quests.
We have a very, very, very fun thing here that is pointed out in chat by our D-Right, or Drite. They've changed how quests work. Quests now can adapt and have multiple stages to them.
Oh.
Whereas before, quests in Shadowlands and a lot of times in Dragonflight would be mostly one step and then it's a new quest. This, in the same way, the like FF14 feels the same way where you're like, you forget you're on a quest because you click the quest accepted and then the quest complete thing happens. Like, it was a quest. I was on for 20 minutes. It was just like, whatever I was doing. But, speak to Wiggle yet again. But the War Within has a lot of that going on, which is just, okay, here is, here's do this. oh, something happens. Something happens. Go again. And a lot more of like, it's less, you don't have to read a bunch of stuff at the beginning and the end quite as often. They kind of get one big, okay, we're going to go off. And then a lot more that's delivered through dialogue and things like that.
That's what we tried to do with WoW Tales back in the day. And that's definitely the way to do it. I think WoW is better when it is less quest text and more dialogue and interaction.
Yeah, of course.
Of
course, because quest text is delivered as a big load of prose.
Yep. Which is helped by dialogue UI and immersion.
Yeah, so there's a lot more of those. So this is actually misleading as a statistic by itself because you're assuming quests are the same thing.
Yeah.
This would be quests 1 through 5 are longer and multi-stage on average compared to Shadowlands.
Yeah, so it is.
Dragonflight definitely had some of that.
Somewhat apples to oranges because of the multi-stage quests then.
All right. And this is a very interesting statistic. I would need to actually look at that entirely to understand. Like I will say that there's definitely like a main story issues stuff. That's like a little bit.
Yeah, so that was the main thing from our video. Was you big picture liked what was there. Mm-hmm. It seemed a lot was positive, but it was quick.
It was probably similar length to Dragonflight, I think. Which is kind of funny because
basically.
Yeah, but like you look at the difference in side quest, you go, oh, there's quest arc, and you're like, oh yeah, how's it work? Yeah, it's about the same length. It was over a couple tries. I think it's roughly 2 and a bit hours per zone. It's hard for me to gauge because whenever I'm like doing this, even the same in my like F14 recordings, there's a lot of times where I'll like be AFK for half an hour, so I'm doing something else and come back and like whatever, instead of like logging out or pausing my recording while I go make food or go outside for a bit or whatever else. But it's like definitely a good like, if you go fast, you're probably going to get like 6 hours ish. If you go reasonably fast, that's still reading quest text, paying attention to things.
So I guess you could in Dragonflight. I've forgotten the person's name. It was the person who had done the speedrunning routes through Dragonflight, and I got that super efficient.
Yeah, if you just zoom with your auto turn into stuff, that's all fine. But it is it's a tighter campaign. There's very, very little in the way of going off and doing random things. It's kind of like here's the thing that makes sense and is a key important story bit. There's only like maybe one bit that feels a little bit disconnected, and it's It's not like it's. Yeah, there's one bit in the Ring and Deeps that it feels a little disconnected, but everything else is directly like.
Reminds me of WoD. Just the way you say that, because like WoD had its main quest lines, at least initially, being rather brisk, with then space for doing side quests. It helped keep the narrative, I think, flowing at a good pace.
Yeah. It definitely feels slightly more WoD-ish, but
it did into halfway through Talador. And
yeah.
That was the thing with WoD. It felt like the budget.
It was front loaded so hard.
It was very front. Yeah, exactly.
This is interesting because the War Within is, I can't really call it budget.
That's backloaded, isn't it?
It's sandwiched.
What? Oh.
Or reverse sandwiched, where all the bread's in the middle. And the good stuff's at the other edges. Where like the Ring and Deeps is a little bit of a sort of, it takes, there's parts of Ring and Deeps is like, this really could have been a series of side quests.
Yeah.
And you just decided them to be the main quests because you needed,
we need some.
Not you needed some content per se, but like you went, okay, well, one of these will be more important to the story for, you could have substituted almost any in. And then there's a bit in, there's not really anywhere else where I could really see them like removing big lumps. Everything else kind of like it's fairly to the point and everything is needed and important to the plot. Not necessarily the plot in the way people see plot now, which is a summary on Wikipedia, but in terms of like, the key characters and themes and stuff like that you're trying to go for it. Because you could cut out half of every zone and the plot will be the same. You'd just be missing development for characters.
You'd be missing the experience.
Yeah, you'd be missing the point in a lot of cases. So it's like I'd say it's probably around a good 8 hours for people going through with that's me reading all the quest text, and every time there's a stay while and listen, of which there's a lot, which there's too many, I would suggest, versus actually putting your story in the fucking game. Like the conversation between Anduin and Farron about who they are.
That's a good one.
Is stay while and listen. It's a great one. There's a conversation in Halfall, another one, Halfall. That's a fantastic conversation, but it's a stay a while and listen. There's another one that's just like optional dialogue. There's a lot of that, which I would do that, and these would be like 30 to 45 seconds or up to like a minute or 2 minute, 2 minutes rather, per go, and they would eat into your time a little bit. But generally speaking, like if you just zoom through, you'll probably get in 6 hours, and reading it, 8, around that.
Yeah, and I think that is what a lot of people actually want.
Generally, yeah.
The thing where this can work a bit better for the modern conception of World of Warcraft, and I guess a direction I think they should probably go in, is make the campaign Warlords of Draenor tier relatively brisk, just straight up brisk through the zones, and then leave all of that other stuff like side quests and things for people to do at Endgame if they are that type of player who would appreciate that type of content, which then does bring in a little bit about incentives, because right now you're doing that for renown. I know in a game like Guild Wars 2, you can keep on leveling. Your level won't increase, but you'll get a mastery point, or you'll get you'll get a mastery, you'll get some loot and things. I suppose they they don't need an infinite leveling system, but I think if there was something outside of reputations that basically could be your XP bar just keeps on going.
That's one of the funny things. Side quests are so not rewarding.
Yeah.
There's the point of doing these side quests is that you want to do them and enjoy them, which is brave, and I appreciate it.
Based.
I appreciate it.
But
still, like, man, I expect people will leave side quests largely undone unless they want Pathfinder.
Yeah, probably.
Interesting. Very, very interesting.
Which is precisely why, I think, you'll have your weekly sources. If you basically had it so you hit, in this expansion, level 80, then like with Guild Wars, which I believe also has a cap of level 80, instead of going to level 81, which would be strange, instead of going to level 81, you stay at 80. It's basically like a Paragon bar, but instead of being for a rep, it's just your own XP. Lots of other games do this. And Overwatch, back in the old days, you'd, that's how you get your loot boxes.
Yeah.
God, what a time that was. So I think something like that would probably work quite well with World of Warcraft. People like sort of overlapping rewards. So, you're doing a bunch of renown things. As you're doing renown, you're getting stuff that gives you XP. That would then, I suppose, the endgame XP from those would probably work quite well for those world content oriented, like completionist sort of people. So yeah, I guess eyebrow raising statistic. However, multi-stage quests and a shitload of side quests. Mm-hmm. We'll have to see, because it's always harder to soak that stuff in properly whenever you're not playing in your real character and it's actually live and you've got music and
that's actually why
and cinematics.
I copied character to do it. Because doing it on my actual main, not my main, like my paladin. So I basically, my main is my paladin and also my druid, and they swap between the two quite often. So realistically, like that's what I did to make sure I would enjoy it more. Because I literally am like, oh, that's the bog I use, that's my character, that's it. And, everything using my mount and my abilities and stuff like that all worked. Because I was like, I was going to do it as a shaman to fill, and I was like, I'm not going to like that. I'm not going to like it as much if I don't do my paladin. Especially, because playing red paladin, I just walk around and go, wee! Which is just, I walk up and with the Radiant Glory thing that is your Wake of Ashes triggers wings. Every time there's a quest mob. Because, you'd have like 30 seconds, 45 seconds of time between fights anyway in quests. Yeah. So you just walk up and just explode them and go, oh, you're gone. Cool. My fight time is so low. It's amazing. What's that, a 3-minute cooldown? No, I'm alright. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, with Ret, that stuff feels like pretty.
Ret is main character. It's main character tier.
I'm maining it.
Like it's so main character.
Yeah, I'm maining it for sure. Although,
it's too main.
I would like to be able to off heal, but I know that Holy Paladin's gotten a way better direction. However, that's at the same time I think they removed Glimmer, but they made Holy Power more engaging. I need to review
your Holy Power
thing.
spendings are way stronger.
Yeah, I
need stronger now. So people, Let It On's not great at the minute, I believe, but it's Word of Glory. It's the word of glory spec at the minute. Yeah, Paladin
fun
is
enough.
the true main character class. It is the true main character class in WoW as well, just because it's like anytime you need something done, you basically go to a Paladin. In the entirety of lore, sometimes a warrior. If you need quest smart things done, you go for a mage, but a mage doesn't fight dudes very often. Shamans and druids are nice background, and the priests are the political minded. But anytime you're like, we need a character to go slap somebody in the face, it's a paladin.
Yeah.
Like almost all the time. Which is great.